Have you ever wondered how a family of 11, two parents, 9 children, runs its entire household on $800 a month, carries no debt, owns its home outright, and still saves 20% of everything it earns? This is not a budget experiment. This is a 300-year-old system. Mortgage payment. The single largest expense in a modern American household is the mortgage. The average monthly mortgage payment in the United States sits above $2,000. The Amish do not have one. When an Amish couple marries, the expectation within the community is that a home will be built, not purchased through a bank, not financed over 30 years, but constructed. The labor comes from the community. Neighbors, relatives, and church members arrive on a designated day and raise the structure together. The hosting family provides food. The community provides the work. The materials are the only real cost, and those are often sourced locally or purchased in bulk through community networks. The home is owned from the day it is finished. No monthly payment, no interest, no bank. Health insurance premium. The average American family pays over $1,000 every month in health insurance premiums. The Amish pay nothing. They carry no private commercial health insurance and do not participate in government health programs. This is not negligence. It is a deliberate theological position. The Amish believe the community is responsible for the care of its members, not a corporation. When a serious medical bill arrives, the church district collects from its members to cover the cost. This system, sometimes called Amish aid, functions as a community-funded alternative to insurance. For routine care, the Amish pay out of pocket, and because they pay directly, they negotiate and plan carefully. For non-urgent procedures that would be expensive domestically, some Amish travel to Mexico where costs are a fraction of American prices. The premium that disappears from the monthly budget is over $12,000 a year that stays inside the household. Car payment or fuel bill. Transportation is the second largest expense category for most American families. The average household spends over $900 every month on vehicle payments, fuel, insurance, registration, and maintenance. The Amish spend none of it. They do not own cars. Travel within the community is done by horse and buggy, a system that requires feed, farrier visits, and basic maintenance, but no fuel, no registration, no collision insurance, and no monthly financing payment. A good buggy horse costs several hundred to a few $1,000s to purchase and a few $100s a year to maintain. Spread across the working life of the animal, the annual cost of Amish transportation is a small fraction of what a modern family pays to keep 2 vehicles on the road. For travel beyond the reach of a horse and buggy, the Amish hire drivers from outside the community, a cost that is paid per trip rather than carried as a fixed monthly obligation. The transportation line in the Amish budget is close to zero. In a modern household, it is one of the largest numbers on the page. Grocery bills. The average American family spends over $900 every month on groceries. The Amish spend a fraction of that figure, and in the growing months, almost nothing at all. A typical Amish household maintains a large vegetable garden that produces far more than the family can eat fresh. The surplus goes into jars. By the end of summer, a well-run Amish household has 300 to 500 jars of preserved food in the cellar: beans, tomatoes, corn, beets, pickles, fruit, and meat. Those jars feed the family from October through April without a single trip to a grocery store. What is purchased at all is purchased in bulk. Flour, sugar, oats, and cornmeal come in 50-pound bags from bulk food stores that serve the plain community at prices far below retail. Bent and Dent stores, discount grocers that sell products with damaged packaging or approaching expiration, provide additional staples at 50 to 80% below normal retail price. Meat comes from animals raised and processed on the farm. Eggs come from the chicken coop. Dairy comes from the family cow. The grocery store is not a weekly destination for an Amish family. It is an occasional stop for the small number of items the farm cannot produce itself. Clothing budget. The average American family spends over $150 every month on clothing. The Amish spend almost nothing. All Amish clothing is made at home. The mother sews the dresses, aprons, shirts, trousers, and bonnets that the family wears. The patterns are simple and standardized, dictated by the Ordnung, the community's code of conduct, which means a dress made for a 10-year-old daughter can be let out and passed to the next child and the child after that. Nothing is thrown away because it is out of fashion. Fashion in the conventional sense does not exist in an Amish household. The same style of dress worn by an Amish woman today is the same style worn by her grandmother. This eliminates the single largest driver of clothing expenditure in modern households, the replacement of items that are still functional but no longer current. A treadle sewing machine, powered by foot rather than electricity, is the primary tool. Thread, fabric, and basic notions are the only purchased inputs. The result is a family of 11 dressed adequately and practically at a cost that would not cover a single month of clothing shopping for the average American household. What is worn is made. What is made lasts. What lasts is passed on. Childcare or school tuition. American families with young children spend an average of over $1,000 every month on childcare alone. Add private school tuition, and the number climbs further. The Amish spend nothing on either. Childcare as a purchase service does not exist in Amish society. The mother is home. The grandmother, if she lives nearby, and she usually does, in the adjoining Großstadty house, is available. Older children care for younger ones as a normal part of daily life. By the time a child is 8 or 9, they are a competent contributor to household tasks rather than a recipient of external supervision. The school question is equally straightforward. Amish children attend one-room Amish schoolhouses, staffed by young Amish women from within the community, funded collectively by community families. The cost per family is minimal. Education ends after the 8th grade, a practice upheld by a 1972 United States Supreme Court ruling that recognized the Amish right to discontinue formal schooling at that level. After 8th grade, children enter a period of vocational training within the household and community. They learn farming, carpentry, sewing, cooking, and animal husbandry directly from their parents. No tuition, no student loans, no college fund to save toward. The education system costs the family almost nothing and produces adults who are fully capable of running a household and a business by their late teens. Entertainment subscriptions. The average American household spends over $300 every month on entertainment, streaming subscriptions, dining out, movie tickets, sporting events, and recreational purchases. The Amish spend none of it. There are no streaming services because there is no television and no internet connection in a traditional Amish home. There are no movie tickets because cinema is not part of Amish life. Dining out is rare and occasional rather than habitual. The entertainment budget, in the modern sense, does not exist. What replaces it costs nothing. Amish social life is built around community gatherings, church every other Sunday, community work events, barn raisings, weddings, and the informal visiting that happens between neighboring families. Singing, reading, board games, quilting circles, and conversation are the primary leisure activities. Children play outdoors, adults gather around tables. The social infrastructure of an Amish community provides continuous human connection, celebration, and recreation without a subscription fee or a restaurant bill. This is not experienced as deprivation by those raised inside it. It is simply how life is organized. The $300 a month that disappears from the entertainment line in a modern household, multiplied across 12 months, is $3,600 a year that an Amish family never spends. Over 10 years, that is $36,000. Over a lifetime, the number becomes significant enough to explain, in part, why Amish families consistently save and accumulate while carrying no debt. Social Security. Most American workers pay 7.65% of their income in Social Security and Medicare taxes every month, and their employers match that figure. For a self-employed person, the full 15.3% comes directly out of earnings. The Amish are exempt from this obligation entirely. In 1965, the United States Congress codified into law an exemption for religious groups that are conscientiously opposed to accepting insurance benefits and that provide adequately for their own dependent members. The Amish qualify on both counts. They do not pay into Social Security. They do not receive Social Security payments. They do not carry workers' compensation insurance. The care of elderly, disabled, or injured community members is handled internally through the family, the church district, and the community mutual aid system that has operated continuously for 3 centuries. For a self-employed Amish tradesman earning $40,000 a year, the Social Security exemption alone represents over $6,000 in annual savings, money that stays in the household rather than entering a government program the family will never draw from. The exemption is not a loophole. It is a recognition that the Amish community has built a parallel system of care that functions without government infrastructure. The elderly do not go to nursing homes. They move into the Großdati house beside their children's home and remain part of the household until they die. The community does not outsource the care of its members. That refusal to outsource is itself a financial strategy. No debt, consumer debt, is so normalized in modern American life that most households do not question it. The average American carries credit card balances, car loans, student loans, a mortgage, and various forms of revolving debt simultaneously. The total household debt burden for the average American family runs into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Amish carry almost none. The theological basis is direct. Debt places a person in obligation to someone outside the community and introduces financial vulnerability that contradicts the Amish principle of self-sufficiency. The practical result is a household that pays for what it needs when it needs it or does without until it can. Credit cards are carried by roughly 20% of Amish households, and those who carry them pay the balance immediately to avoid interest. Large purchases, equipment, land, building materials are saved for rather than financed. The Amish savings rate runs at approximately 20% of household income compared to 4 or 5% for the average American household. That gap compounds over decades. A family saving 20% of a modest income for 30 years accumulates more genuine wealth than a family earning twice as much but carrying $2,000 a month in debt service. The absence of debt is not merely a moral position for the Amish. It is the financial foundation that makes everything else possible. No debt means no monthly payments draining the household. No monthly payments means the $800 in cash spending is genuinely sufficient. The math only works because the debt line is zero. The $800 figure is not the result of extreme sacrifice or unusual discipline. It is the natural remainder when every expense that modern households treat as fixed and unavoidable has been systematically eliminated. No mortgage, no health insurance, no car payment, no grocery bill beyond a small monthly purchase, no clothing store, no childcare, no school tuition, no entertainment budget, no Social Security obligation, no debt of any kind. What remains after all of that is removed is a small cash budget for the things that cannot be grown, built, sewn, or provided by the community. Bulk dry goods, basic hardware, occasional medical costs, transportation hire for long distances, and the modest materials required to keep a farm and household running. The median Amish household income is approximately $42,000 a year. On that income, with those eliminations in place, a family of 11 lives without financial stress, saves consistently, owns its home, and educates its children. The same income in a conventional American household, carrying a mortgage, 2 car payments, health insurance, childcare, and consumer debt, would leave that family living paycheck to paycheck. The difference is not the number. The difference is the architecture of the life built around the number. The Amish did not design their financial system to be frugal. They designed it around faith, community, and self-sufficiency, and frugality was the result. $800 a month is not what an Amish family scrapes by on. It is what an Amish family needs because everything else was already handled before the month began.